All right, welcome to Ringside Report MMA. Tonight on the show, Conor McGregor has accepted a fight with Dustin Poirier, but it must happen in 2020. George St. Pierre campaigning for a fight with Habib Nurmagomedov once again, and Michael Chandler signs to the UFC as a backup. Ringside Report MMA starts right now. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. I am Dave Simon. We are here on the Ringside Report Network. We're live on YouTube, on Facebook Live, on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ringside Report. Go subscribe. Subscribe to our YouTube. Support all of our sponsors. And let's talk to our buddies here. There's Freddie Garcia with his sweet mug. What is that, Freddie? What's going on there? What is that?
Pinkie Pie.
Who's Pink?
What is that?
Who is Pinkie Pie?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it's like in French they call ma petite pouliche, my little pony.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even sure, but these are my girlfriend's mugs. I just love them because they're huge, so I could do a big T for the show. Sometimes I have my Irish mug, but I already used it today, so now I'm using Pinkie Pie.
Don't
laugh,
I wasn't sure what it was, man. From here, because it's so small, the screen, I thought it was a nipple. I'm like, what does he have? Like Israel's nipple, like mug or something?
AJ,
But
we're only seeing half your face too, AJ. There's a problem with it.
Yeah,
Fred's got a crazy. Oh, there you go. There you go. Better now. I've
I'm
got a
trying to
mug.
look at his mug,
I've got my
man.
New Day mug that I'm always rocking. The New Day. Everybody knows New Day.
Wow, that's nice, man.
You know these
Wow.
guys.
Why don't you get a ringside mug?
Yeah, we have those too.
Here's
They're going to
my
be on
mug.
sale soon. Okay, I've been saying that for a while, but I mean it this time.
I want
Poor
an
boys.
extra large version because, like, when I go for a show, I can't have just a normal size mug. I need a big mug.
I feel you, Fred. We're
Like
working
a,
on
like
it.
A Magnum.
Everything
Okay,
is in progress right now. Give a shout out to Woods MMA UK. Give a shout out to Lauren Cronish. I see you guys on the chat. Mad Dog Vachon active on the chat as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching us live. Thanks, everybody, listening on ringsidereport.net. I want to get right into it here with you guys. Conor McGregor has accepted a fight. The UFC's offered a fight. Dustin Poirier has accepted the fight. And let's see here. Do I have it? I don't know if I have it. Oh. That didn't work. We all disappeared.
What the hell happened there?
I don't know. I'm trying to show you the Conor McGregor tweet, but it's not working. But we have our production team working on it right now to to fix that. I go to the
How
Conor
about you
tweet.
read it?
I go to the Conor tweet and it just goes to like black screen. I think our production team is working on it. They'll give me the okay when it's ready. I don't know if they'll be able to get it ready though.
How about you just
Why not,
read
man?
Okay, well I'll just read it for you.
No,
then.
it's not the same.
I'll read
It's
it
not
for
the
you,
same.
Fred. No, it's okay. I don't know if we'll be able to get it fixed here. Hello, Dustin. I accepted the UFC offer to fight you, but told them it must happen in 2020. I'm ready for November 21st, given that card's recent injury issues, as well as any of the December dates, the 12th and the 19th. I'll also still donate the $500K to the Good Fight Foundation. So
Good for him, man.
Conor has accepted the fight, and he wants it November 21st, December 12th, or December 19th. Thoughts, guys?
I think it's fantastic, man. You know what? If he's putting the fact that he's confirmed with the UFC, then he's confirmed with the UFC. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And you know what? Dana White wants to get this fight in before 2020. And I sent you guys a couple of tweets this week, or several tweets. And someone told me, listen, the Miami Dolphins are going to pack the stadium out in Florida. They're putting in like 1,300 people into that stadium. And I'm telling you, if Conor fights, it's going to be with a crowd. And if Conor fights, it's going to be Conor Poirier in Miami, man. There's going to be a fight happening there, and this is what's going to happen. This fight is taking place, guys. Oh, by the way, this is Dave Simon. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, you're welcome, AJ.
No, that's not Dave Simon. It's Conor, but Dave gave it to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that fight necessarily happens in Miami or if we need a crowd for it. I know there was talk at one point. There was talk at a certain point of Conor not fighting until a crowd was ready, until we're ready to have crowds. But you can't wait forever. And at a certain point, you just have to let the guy fight. You have to put him in some sort of fight. If the UFC's waiting for 2021 to possibly be able to do it with a crowd, I think that's nonsense. I think you just put Conor in there, let him fight. He wants to fight on November the 21st. If you look at the card for UFC 255, which is the next UFC pay-per-view after next week's big Habib fight, but the next one, like 55, 54 is good. 55, what's the main event? It's so far, Davison Figueiredo defending the flyweight title against Alex Perez. It was supposed to be Cody Garbrandt, but he got hurt. So Figueiredo is going to fight Alex Perez instead. And Valentina Shevchenko, the women's flyweight champion, defending against Jennifer Maia. The other fight selling that card is Robbie Lawler versus Mike Perry. Now, wouldn't that be great if Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier was the main event for that one? Wouldn't that be a pay-per-view that you'd want to see with Conor McGregor as the main event? Because looking at it right now, what's the main event there? How do you sell that pay-per-view? Fred?
Well, that card definitely needs a better main event. But with that said, we've seen the UFC put on some pay-per-views with just like 2 title fights and a couple of guys. So I'm not convinced Conor's going to fight on that fight card. But as far as Dustin Poirier, I think it's a fight that makes a lot of sense. Poirier lost once against McGregor, so Poirier wants to avenge that. McGregor, he probably says to himself, this is a fight where I feel somewhat comfortable because he knows his opponent. And it's a fight that's winnable for McGregor, so it makes sense. I think it's a great fight for him to get back on not on a win streak because he beat Cerrone in his last fight, but to get back at it because he's been off for a couple of months. Dustin Poirier makes sense. Like I've said, look, for several shows now, I've said McGregor should not be fighting Habib right now. There's no point to that. And the other options are like a Diaz, Masvidal, and Poirier makes just as much sense as any of those matchups. So I'm down for Poirier against McGregor.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense for Conor. I think it makes a lot of sense for Poirier. And I just want to give you guys the good news here. Boom. Look at that.
What?
Look, we have it on the screen. It's fixed. Boom.
Nice.
All right, we got that now.
Zoom in and everything. That's
Look at that. I can zoom in.
technology there, Dave.
He has accepted the UFC offer, okay? He wants it. November 21st. Why should that not be the main event for November 21st? If the UFC wants it, I mean, if Conor wants it and Dustin Poirier wants it, I don't know why Poirier wouldn't accept it on that date. I say you put that together. That's the fight for me. I don't know about you guys, but that's the fight for me. November 21st, UFC 255. Let's go.
Listen, I'm still standing with the fact
Ferguson.
that's not happening.
So that didn't happen because Poirier didn't accept whatever offer the UFC was given. The UFC tried to give Dustin Poirier some sort of whatever deal to fight Tony Ferguson. He wasn't happy with the amount of money, so then Dana White's
Ferguson also that.
I think it might have been Ferguson too, but I think at first it was Poirier saying, look, I don't want to take whatever offer it is. I'm not taking this offer for the Ferguson fight. It's not worth it to me, so I'm backing out of the fight. That's what happened first. And then I think what happened was with Ferguson is that they tried to rebook him with some other fight, but he's like, I'm not going to fight any of these other guys for no money. There's no point in this. So he wound up not fighting at UFC 254. That fight was supposed to be the co-main event next week. Dustin Poirier versus Tony Ferguson was supposed to co-main event the Khabib-Justin Gaethje fight, which is next Saturday afternoon, guys. We're going to be doing a watch-along.
It's in 2 weeks, man.
Is it 2 weeks? You're right.
Yeah, it's on the 24th.
Oh, man. I'm sick of waiting, man. I'm sick of waiting for that fight. You're right. We have Marlon Moraes and Corey Sandhagen on Saturday, and then next Saturday it's the Brian Ortega Korean Zombie fight, and then after that it's Khabib and Gaethje. You're right about that. But nevertheless, it was supposed to be Dustin and Tony. That's not happening at all, and instead Michael Chandler has been signed, former Bellator champion, one of the top lightweights in the world. And he's going to be the backup for Khabib or Gaethje should one of them fall out from that fight. So if Khabib gets hurt, we'll get Gaethje and Chandler. And if Gaethje gets hurt, we'll get Khabib and Chandler. Which is like, all right, I guess, but Tony Ferguson and Dustin Poirier were supposed to be in those spots to kind of be the backup. I thought Tony Ferguson was going to be that backup, but that didn't wind up happening because the UFC
pissed, man.
didn't give him an offer that he wanted. Yeah, Tony Ferguson's talking. He wants a big fight for the UFC. He wants GSP, or not GSP, sorry. He wants Khabib. He wants McGregor. He wants whoever. I'm down to see any of those fights for Tony Ferguson, but right now it seems like they're kind of waiting. Go ahead.
I was going to say, why don't you just put him with Chandler? Why don't you get that fight for the November 21st?
Yeah.
Now, that's a fight that people want to see. That's a fight that's going to bring in money. Tony Ferguson sells. Chandler is coming in. He's a champ. He's like the new prospect. Is he going to be like Ben Askren? We don't know. But the thing is that's going to sell. And that's the fight to make for November 21st.
Tony and Chandler
Dan,
is
I know
a good...
you listen. Do it.
Tony and Chandler is a good fight to make. Fred, you had a point there?
Yeah, well, you say it's a fight that's going to sell and make money. Tony Ferguson, I was reading some quotes, basically said that Michael Chandler doesn't have 100,000 Twitter followers and actually only has 55,000 Twitter followers.
True.
I'm looking at it right now. So, like us, we're hardcore MMA fans. We know who Michael Chandler is. But the people that just watch a show here and there, they don't know who Michael Chandler is, and that's not a sexy fight.
But they know Tony Ferguson. But they know Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, but
that's
exactly.
The difference.
Yeah, but Tony should expect somebody that could match a little bit of his name value. And right now, I'm sorry, I don't think Michael Chandler matches that value.
It's not a main event. Conor McGregor, that's a main event against anybody. It doesn't matter. But if you want to make a solid main event for UFC 255, Chandler and Ferguson isn't the answer. That's a good main event for a fight night. That's an amazing main event for a fight night. But a main event for a pay-per-view without a belt on the line, I don't think so. I think you could do a 5-round non-title main event between Conor and Dustin Poirier easily. Like, that's money. Conor, main event for sure. That sells pay-per-views. But I agree with Fred. I don't think Michael Chandler, a guy who's been a star in Bellator, who MMA people know, but most people don't know. And Tony Ferguson is a star, but it's not like Conor McGregor. I mean, we can all agree Conor is the biggest star they could pull out here.
Let me give you these numbers.
Yeah, Fred.
Tony Ferguson has 550,000 followers, and Michael Chandler has 55,000. There's different levels of being a star. I'm not saying Chandler's not a good fighter.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying he's not known.
But Freddie, I'm going to tell you something. That's the difference with the UFC and any other organization. And you know what? Bellator has amazing fights. They have amazing cards. They're an amazing organization. But the truth is this: if Chandler comes in, just like Ben Askren who came in, his numbers will jump the moment that he beats a known name in the UFC. He beats Tony Ferguson, he's gonna have 500,000 as well. I can guarantee you this. And you know what? If people don't know who Chandler is, they'll see him when he comes to the UFC. But I don't think it's right that he should be a backup for the Gaethje fight. I think he should come into the UFC and fight either Poirier or he should be fighting Ferguson and getting his name out there. So if he can beat any of these two guys, then the stock goes up. I don't think the UFC is doing a great decision to put him in as a stand-in because there's guys that have that opportunity to go in there, like a Ferguson as well. Why not? And you know what? He's to Conor.
He's a backup. He's a backup now for a fight that's happening in potentially 2 weeks. And he may or may not step in there. Yeah, but if he does step into the fight, you're telling me that's not a good spot for him? A main event against Khabib Nurmagomedov? Like what?
It is, but what I'm saying is, like Freddie was saying, if his account is only at 55,000 and MMA fans know him, but the mainstream fans don't, he should build up his credibility by fighting a known name other than the championship fight, like a Ferguson or a Poirier, or even like a Conor for that matter. I don't care who it is, and get his name out there.
That's why Ferguson say it's not worth it for him, because Chandler's not known. For sure, Chandler's going to jump on at the chance of fighting any of these big names. But who's gonna jump at the chance at fighting Chandler, who's a dangerous fighter? I'm not putting down his skills, and that's exactly it. If you're gonna fight Chandler, you're putting your record at risk, and it's a fight that if you win, people are just gonna say, yeah, you beat a guy from another organization. You're supposed to, like it doesn't give that much to Ferguson or a Poirier to beat Chandler.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with him very much. I don't think he's coming in with the same type of name recognition as Ben Askren was, because Chandler just doesn't talk the same type of game like Ben Askren. He hasn't been able to market himself in the same type of way. I think Chandler's a very good fighter, and I'm interested to see how he fares in the UFC. We've seen very good Bellator fighters come into the UFC and struggle, and we've seen some others have some success. So, we'll see here with Michael Chandler. I think he's very good. But I wouldn't pick him in a fight against Khabib or Gaethje, though. So, I hope that he doesn't.
Gaethje?
No.
I don't know about that.
I'd pick Gaethje. So I hope that fight, stays intact, the Khabib-Gaethje fight, so Chandler doesn't have to get involved. Chandler versus Tony Ferguson would be a really fun fight. I would like to see that, but I'm really focused on Conor McGregor and some of the things that Dana White has been saying about Conor McGregor, and it kind of ties into Khabib Nurmagomedov and George St. Pierre. Like, there are sharks circling the water right now, and there are sharks, Conor McGregor's around, and he's circling because it's Khabib time. It's a time of the year. It's getting cold outside. In a couple of weeks, Khabib's going to be fighting in the afternoon on pay-per-view, and you can smell it in the air. You smell the blood. If you're a shark like we are sharks, you could smell the other sharks, and you see what's going on. There's an infestation happening, and it's Khabib time. We're getting ready. So Khabib, he is one of these sharks, right? Justin Gaethje, he is a shark. Dustin Poirier, he's out there. He's circling. He knows something's up. Tony Ferguson's out there. He starts talking all of a sudden. You hear from him. He knows that there's a big fight looming. Conor McGregor won't stop talking. He knows that there's big money. There are big fights happening. He knows that if he fights in the pay-per-view following Khabib, then there might be some public pressure for the UFC and Khabib to make that rematch. He understands the game, as does George St. Pierre, who did an interview with TSN this week, and he's talking about Khabib Nurmagomedov, and he's saying, I don't know, fighting Khabib, maybe not, but I definitely would like to test it. And he's even talking about what weight they might fight at. And George said, well, I haven't cut weight in a long time, and I'm 185 pounds now, so maybe we'd have to wait for that fight. Maybe we'd have to, not do it at 155 pounds because, rather, we've waited so long, right? So George is saying, I'm too heavy. If Khabib wants to fight me, and I think he does, maybe we do this at a different weight division. He even said at a weight division that we've never fought at before. So for George, that cancels out 185, 170. Maybe he's talking about a 165 division, which a lot of fighters have talked about. Khabib fights at 155, and George is saying he can't make that. So maybe George wants to fight at 65, and that's George St. Pierre doing an interview. He's not doing that interview for his health. He's doing that interview specifically to tell you that he wants to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov to continue to push his name out there because it's Khabib time, because the sharks are circling, because on October 24th, something's going to happen. Khabib's going to fight. He's either going to win or lose. And win or lose, there are big fights to make off that fight with a number of those big sharks that I talked about. With GSP, a win for Khabib, you could do the GSP fight. You could do a Conor rematch. A loss for Khabib, you could do the Conor rematch. A loss for Khabib, you could do Gaethje Conor. You could do Gaethje, a lot of different people. Gaethje Chandler, I guess, if you wanted to. AJ thinks that Michael Chandler would beat him, so maybe there are some MMA fans that want to see that. You could do a number of different fights with Tony Ferguson, and you could do Tony versus Conor straight up. That would be fun. Who doesn't want to see that? There are a number of big players, big money players right now in the 155-pound division, and one big money player who is the welterweight king who's thinking about dipping his toe back into the water in George St. Pierre. So there are a lot of elements at play, but of course, you got to bring it back to Dana White. And this is what Dana White said to Sports Illustrated this week. If Khabib does beat Gaethje, you get Tony Ferguson another fight, which we're working on right now. And hopefully that fight with Khabib happens because I know people want to see it. So Dana's basically telling you that if Khabib beats Gaethje, they'll get Tony Ferguson a winnable fight so that they can prop him back up on a win streak to fight Khabib for the belt. That's exact right. He says if Khabib beats Gaethje, you get Tony another fight, and hopefully that fight with Khabib happens because I know people want to see it. So he's saying you fight somebody other than Khabib, you beat him. We are hoping that you beat him because you want to see Tony and because that's what he said. Because there's money in Tony and Khabib. If you finally get that Tony and Khabib fight, Dana knows as a promoter that there's money behind it. I don't fault him for saying it, but I do kind of you got to read between the lines here with Dana and say, "Oh, okay, Dana, I see what you're saying there, but goddamn, didn't know you just say it."
Whoa. I'm confused here. So what you're saying is that Dana wants Ferguson to fight someone else, beat him, and then have the opportunity to fight Khabib. If that scenario happens.
That's what he said.
How does that make any sense? What if Tony Ferguson fights whoever the next person is who's supposed to be winnable? As we know, some fights are supposed to be winnable, heavy favorites, and things don't happen. What if he loses? That's the end of that. You know what? You want a money fight. You want big action. You want a storyline behind it. Everybody wants to see Khabib Ferguson fight. Ferguson should have that shot before fighting anybody else. If George St. Pierre doesn't come and come out of retirement, which he's so close to coming. Today, after listening to that interview again, I am convinced that George St. Pierre will be back either this year, as crazy as it sounds, or by 2021 early. George is coming back. He said it. He doesn't want to wait any longer. He's got that fire again. And you could see it in his interview. He's looking for all those stars to be aligned, and they're all aligned right now. All he needs is a weight category. And he said it because Khabib technically is a much heavier guy than George is. George walks around at 195, maybe 185, 195. George is not a small guy, and Khabib is bigger than him, according to what George says. And he can go down to 155. But remember, Khabib is much younger. If George says he wants to fight, the next fight that we'll see is George fighting Khabib. And if it's not George fighting Khabib, it should be Ferguson fighting Khabib. Point final. Come on, Dana. Don't snooze because you lose.
AJ. Well, I was going to say, AJ, I think you should be a promoter because, you just throw a bunch of stuff out there. You'd be a great competitor to Dana White, man. Somebody needs to hire you.
I got the same head like him, man.
You just guaranteed that George would fight by the end of the year, I think. So, I love that
man,
guarantee. I don't think it's going to happen.
Nope.
Because there's 2 months and a half left.
I'm feeling it.
And why should Ferguson get a title shot if he just lost to Justin Gaethje? He just lost to Gaethje, and then Khabib, beats Gaethje, so then you put Ferguson up there against Khabib? Why? Fred?
And that's why he's not the sub. Because if Khabib were the guy to get injured, we don't really want to see Gaethje Ferguson again. That fight was decided. Of course, if Gaethje were to get injured, Ferguson would be a logical choice. And even if Khabib defeats Gaethje, let's say, and Ferguson doesn't fight anybody else, he could still be a challenger. We've seen challengers come off of a loss. Yeah, Romero recently, I think, got a title shot off of a loss.
But that's only because Paulo Costa got hurt.
It's happened before. That's what I'm saying. And Ferguson versus Habib was really a fight a lot of people wanted to see. So I would understand if it would happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't be super mad, but I think that there are other challenges potentially out there for Khabib. Although if he beats Gaethje, as far as legit contenders at 155, what else is there other than Tony Ferguson? A big name 155ers?
Well, Khabib has defeated a couple of guys now. He's on Yeah, exactly. Before his championship, also like he's on. So not the top of my head who would be the next in line, but Ferguson, like we said, Ferguson versus Habib is a fight that, man, I think a lot of us were hyped for that, and when it got canceled, we were bummed. Like we were like, oh, okay, Gaethje, and nobody was really giving Gaethje a chance, but the fight we wanted to see was Ferguson versus Habib. So why not? I would still be down for that.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely,
Ferguson,
man.
Habib, like I'm looking at the UFC's rankings right now, and you have Khabib as a champ, then Gaethje, then Dustin Poirier, then Tony Ferguson at 3. Dan Hooker is ranked 4, and Conor McGregor is ranked 5. How did Dan Hooker get 4th? How did that work? I guess he's beat a lot of guys, but really? 20-9 record. He's 4th in the world according to the UFC at 155? Huh. Interesting. I guess it's not a super deep division at the top. I mean, Hooker's a very good fighter, but 30 years old. Put him against Tony Ferguson, see how he does.
He's not that money maker fighter. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's
That's
it.
the problem. It's not a name that is gonna like be like such a heavy hitting pay per view, and like that's the problem. We need some like
A lot
money
of the
names. What?
Yeah.
A lot of the 155ers moved up also, like Cerrone, Nate Diaz. A couple of them just moved up in weight. So, and even McGregor, he fought more at 170 than 155 recently. So,
which kind of makes sense why Dana White's talking about Tony Ferguson fighting Khabib again, because he's looking at the landscape post Justin Gaethje, and he's like, okay, well, there's Conor, who's like putting my personal text to him on the internet, and I'm really mad at Conor. There's George St. Pierre, who I don't want to deal with or pay. So I guess I tried out Tony Ferguson and tried to put him in there against Khabib, because as far as the big money fights and Dana White is concerned, that's the easiest one to make, right? If you're Dana, who do you want to deal with, Conor, George, or Tony Ferguson? I mean, you probably have to pay Tony the least of the 3. You'll make money off the Khabib fight no matter what. No wonder Dana White's talking about Tony and Khabib. Don't be surprised if that happens.
Tony has a lot of plans that are going on. He's building his gym. He's building his MMA gym. He's like talking about other stuff outside of the UFC. He wants to get on the submission series with Chael Sonnen to fight like Jordan Burroughs. Like this guy is doing a lot of stuff on the outside. And if the offer is not right, which I understand, why fight? Like the Poirier thing went down the tubes, but he's got to fight Khabib next. That's what it's going to come down to. And that's
I don't know.
And that's where Ferguson's going to sign.
I look at Conor McGregor, and I think he's just absolutely brilliant. I think he is a mastermind of fight promotion. We've seen that. We've seen what he's done with his career and the millions that he has made. It's just amazing. And I think what he's doing once again is brilliant. He's pushing the UFC to say, hey, look, you have this pay-per-view in November. That sucks. I will save the thing. You want me to fight Dustin Poirier? I'll fight Dustin Poirier. I will save your pay-per-view. Just make it November 21st so that people that bought the pay-per-view in October will certainly, the Khabib fight, the same people will certainly buy the Conor McGregor show in November. And when they watch that show, they will see Conor talking a gang of shit about Khabib the whole time and calling for the fight after he knocks Dustin Poirier clean out in the first round, right? Conor McGregor is a mastermind. He knows exactly how to play these things, and he's trying to force the UFC's hand. He's saying, hey, give me the pay-per-view at 255, give me the November fight, because I will make myself undeniable for the next title shot against Khabib. Conor sees it. Conor sees the moves. He knows what he's doing. He's no dummy. If he was dumb, if he didn't know how to promote a fight and get himself in the right spots, he wouldn't be Conor McGregor. He's very good at this. And I love it. And Dana White is like trying to play it off like Conor's being all weird. Here's more Dana White quotes from Sports Illustrated this week. Dana White said, talking about Conor McGregor going all wild on Twitter during the, while the Israel Adesanya fight was going on, like during that weekend, right? So Dana goes, this was a weird one. This was weirder and different than anything he's done before. There's almost a pattern here. When we're about to do a massive fight And Israel Adesanya broke a ton of records last week in a global massive fight. The day before that fight, he starts announcing he's going to fight this guy and that guy. It's almost like stealing Adesanya's thunder, but he does it every time there's a big fight. No shit! So does Jon Jones, because they're big stars and they understand when people are focused on the UFC, when there's a big fight going on, they can push their fucking name into the conversation and get more press because of it. Because when the whole world's talking about the UFC, no shit the stars want to piggyback on that, get their name involved, and make more money and sell more pay-per-views going forward. And Dana White's acting all innocent, like, I wonder why is Conor being such a dick and just trying to steal Adesanya's thunder? Fuck out of here, Dana. That's what Jon Jones does. That's what all the smart UFC fighters are doing. Why do you think George St. Pierre is doing a big interview where he's talking about Habib for most of it 2 weeks before Habib's fighting? Why is he doing that? This is what fighters do. When there's a big fight event going on, they put their name out there because they know that people are going to have eyeballs on the fight world. It's like, it's real simple. And Dana, he wants to act like all innocent, like, oh, Conor, can you believe what he's doing? It's like, yeah, Dana, we know what he's doing. And usually you're co-signing it. But now because you're pissed at Conor, you're acting like everything he does is somehow this arrogant dickhead, like you're playing into the Conor haters. Dana is taking all the talking points from the Conor haters and just pushing them out in all his interviews now, if you've noticed. I've noticed Dana White is like 2 interviews away from saying Conor McGregor was never my friend. Remember when he said that shit about Randy Couture? Randy Couture was never my friend. Dana White went on and on. Captain America, what a great guy. One of my best friends. I love Randy Couture. What a great guy. Randy leaves the UFC.
Hero.
American hero. Captain America. This guy is America. I love him. Leaves the UFC. Randy Couture. Ask anybody you know. He's a piece of trash guy. Never my friend. I don't like this guy. Like, this is what Dana does to people. He will put you over big time, say that you are the best guy ever, and as soon as you don't do exactly what he wants you to do and you cross him, you are the worst. And Conor's starting to get that treatment, and it's scary because Conor is a big star. George got it. As soon as he walked away from that Johnny Hendricks fight, it was like, George lost that fight. George is going away. Forget about George. I don't know what he's thinking. George is no good. Like, Dana has been burying George since he beat Johnny Hendricks.
But you know what's funny is that George, when he talks about Dana White, he's so like strong in words and saying that Dana White is a genius and Dana White is like the best promoter in the world, and Dana White can get things done when other people can't, and Dana White is notorious for setting people up so that they can fight. Even if you don't want to fight, he's going to push those buttons that you want to fight. And that's coming from George, who had his buttons pushed from Dana. So you know what? Dana is like a mad genius. And in the end, you know what? He's able to bring fights together where no other sport was able to do it during the COVID. January came, Dana White had his fights. And you got to give it to him. And you know what? Somebody was saying that saying actually this week. I don't know who it was, but somebody was saying you got to give it to him. You know that they stole it from us. But anyways, you got to give it to Dana because Dana knows.
Phrase. Mm-hmm.
Dana you got to understand Dana's point of view, okay? And I agree with everything you said, but if you're Dana White and people are starting to ask you questions about George St. Pierre, if you feed to those questions, if you go to these journalists like, oh yeah, I definitely want to see George St. Pierre back and all that, you're just giving more ammunition to the fighter to negotiate a big contract, because by Dana White admitting that, then all the media is going to pick it up. Then everybody's going to talk about it. Whereas if Dana just ignores and says like, oh, George St. Pierre doesn't really want to fight, Conor McGregor doesn't really want to fight, he's not giving power to these fighters as much. Like, I think it's a negotiation tactic where he just wanted to show these guys, like, you guys aren't that important. Like, my business keeps on going even if you guys aren't there. So
that's it.
Yes and no.
I kind of understand.
Come on, guys.
I understand his position still. Like, I'm not saying he's right. I'm just saying if he gives too much praise to these guys, he's giving them more power for negotiation and everything, and that's not his role.
Look, you know what? The bottom line is it's a business.
Contracts.
listen, in the end, it's a business. And you know what? I don't know how many fights are left on the ESPN contract before December
Several
31st.
years.
I know that.
Oh, fights this
No,
year.
no, no.
Okay.
Like the amount of fights this year, you had to put in like I
One
forgot
a
how
week.
many fights. Yeah, literally one a week. So he's like pushing out as many fights as he can. But the bottom line is that, you know, you still got to make money. They are making money. They're making a hell of a lot of money, even though like there's been like an 80% drop in MMA fights in 2020 over 2019. So there's not that many fights taking place around the world. The bottom line is Dan is still doing it, but I'm going back to what I'm saying. You still need those super money fights. You know, you need money fights to come in. As soon as you got a Conor, there's a money fight. You got a Khabib, there's a money fight. You know, you got a GSP that comes back, there's a money fight. Israel's a money fight. There's so many guys. John Jones,
Yep.
you know, Stipe. You know, it goes so deep. But those guys bring in money and they bring in credibility and they bring eyes to the UFC. And the UFC ratings have gone through the roof. ESPN last week, okay,
You are such a UFC cheerleader. It's ridiculous.
Listen, man.
You're
No,
like,
no,
Dana
but
White, you
listen,
got to give
hey,
it to him.
listen.
Pandemic. The ratings are killing it. Dana, I just want to give a shout out to
Hey,
our super
listen.
chat because they're keeping us alive.
What is
And I want to
happening?
thank you, Patrick C. Hamilton, dropping the Keep It Up super chat. I love you, Patrick. Thank you, Patrick. Out in Saskatchewan. Respect to you out there, buddy. AJ, you made AJ spill some shit over there. Fantastic. And TK as well, dropping the super chat. Thank you, TK. He says, great job, guys. Keep up these great shows. We will keep up these great shows because we have a great audience. We love you guys, and we love that you guys support us. You also support our sponsors, of course. IP Vanish. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net to protect yourself on the internet and protect yourself at all times with IP Vanish. vpn.ringsidereport.net. You'll never see those videos again where it says, this video is not available in your area. It'll always be available in your area with a secure VPN like IP Vanish, and you won't get hacked. AJ's got so many sex videos on his phone, all sorts of weird stuff going on. He's got IP
Hey, listen, man,
Vanish
those
to
are
protect.
my videos. I'm in them.
I know you are. You're all over them. It's awful. But you protect
You
yourself.
call me Hollywood AJ for no reason.
Exactly. IP Vanish. VPN.ringsidereport.net. And I say that they're awful, but they're really awesome, AJ. You are a star. VPN.ringsidereport.net. Freddie?
Adesanya versus Costa sold 700,000 pay-per-views, supposedly. Even more, they say.
There you go.
So
Is that good?
that is a very...
Yeah,
that's an excellent number. For Adesanya Costa, 700,000 pay-per-views? That's excellent. And I'll go back to saying that's to Dana a proof that, hey, I could create new stars. Like George St. Pierre, Conor McGregor, if you guys don't want to make money right now, like, you know, he's playing hardball because he's probably saying to himself, like, I could create new stars. Yeah, it's a cycle and all that, but with time, there's going to be another star with who Dana White's going to make a lot of money.
Absolutely. And that's why, like, there's no doubt about it. Like, the field is so deep, man. And if you look at a lot of these guys that are coming up on the preliminary cards for the UFC in the last weeks, I mean, you see some guys' names and you see them fighting and you're like, holy smokes, these guys are going to be awesome. They're no names yet, but man, you know, that's the thing with the UFC. And I was talking with someone last week in the boxing world, and again, the UFC, from their preliminary cards that start at 8 p.m. to their main card that ends at midnight, people are glued. And that's what I was trying to get back before you went on the, our sponsor thing. ESPN is pumping out crazy numbers because of the UFC. And you know what? The ratings are up. The ratings are like equal to any other sport that's out there. And the thing is, that's the case, is that people, yes, it is, Fred. You go look at the ESPN ratings last week, man, and you'll see them up.
Yeah, okay. And if you actually read the article, it's going to tell you that they were number 4, and the three ones that had higher ratings were all also on ESPN network. So out of all the ESPN networks, the UFC still finished 4th. So yeah, it's the best ratings they've done for a UFC event, but they're not beating college football and other sports. That's not true.
But if you look at the statistics, they've been rising ever since the UFC is partnered up with ESPN. There's no doubt about it.
I'm just saying.
But the bottom line is, if I was ESPN and I was like working for them, it's normal. UFC is paying bills. UFC is bringing in viewership. UFC is bringing the money.
right.
And Dana White is doing something right to the point where he even has like the president talking about the UFC.
Okay.
When have you heard anything else about that? What I'm trying to say is the UFC is out of control in 2020. And you
Has
know
anybody
what? It's
heard
only
from
gonna get
him,
bigger
by
in
the way?
2021.
Has anybody heard from
From
the
who?
president today? Is he okay?
I don't
he
know,
was
man.
on a tweet,
Has he tweeted?
Did he tweet today?
Right.
Check, Dave. Check his tweets.
Has anybody seen him today? Like, I don't know,
How
man.
about, like,
He has
look,
coronavirus, doesn't he?
He's probably celebrating
Well,
with
what
Mike
about-
Pence the beating they gave in that.
Oh,
vice
take it easy.
presidential debate.
listen, man, we got to start putting some bets out on these like debates, man.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you can actually call a winner or a loser. I did
No,
see
no, they
that
were betting,
Kamala Harris didn't know that Tupac was dead. Did you guys see that?
Oh, for
What?
real? I
She thought
didn't know that
Tupac was alive. I think I can actually play
Even
this
AJ
for
knows
you.
that.
I'm gonna play this. This is on Twitter. This is a clip on Twitter I saw. I think it's like somebody from CNN interviewing her. This was so crazy. I don't know why I'm playing this, but I'm gonna play this shit for you because it's hilarious to me. Wait a second, that didn't work. Hold on. She didn't know that Tupac was dead. Okay, listen to this shit. Oops,
But
wait a second. Here we go.
and then best rapper alive.
Tupac.
He's not. You say he lives on.
But
You
not
said
a
he
lot.
lives
I know. I keep doing that.
You said, listen,
I keep
West
doing
Coast
that.
girls think Tupac lives on. I'm with you. So
She's trying to
Tupac-
save her. She's trying to save her there. She's like, West Coast girls know Tupac lives on. She's asking her questions, and she's like, best rapper alive, Tupac.
I keep doing that.
I keep doing that.
I bet she can't
Who would I
name 5
say?
rappers.
I mean, there's so many. I mean,
There's
you
so
know,
many.
there are some that I would not mention right now because they should stay in their lane. But others,
I think she's talking about Kanye there. She's like, oh, I don't want to mention certain rappers. They should not be in politics, stay in their lane type of thing.
Vote
So
for
she's
Kanye.
taking a shot at Kanye, which I do not like.
I don't know what that means. I want to know who
Keep
one of those
going.
are.
keep going, keep moving,
all
keep
right.
moving, Angela.
All right. That was not supposed to be a stumper either.
Yeah, not supposed to be a stumper, Kamala Harris. Is it Kamala or Kamala? I don't give a shit.
Kamala.
Whatever. The
Listen,
point is,
first of all,
she
was
thought
even mentioned
Tupac
there
was
that she
alive.
came from Montreal.
She's asked.
She didn't
She's
mention
asked.
Montreal.
Listen, here is a friendly tip for all of you old Democrats who are so out of touch. When somebody asks you who your favorite rapper alive is, just say Kendrick Lamar. It's a very easy, politically friendly answer. He has a lot of fans. He's like a Democratic type guy. He's more loved on the left. Just go with Kendrick Lamar. It's very easy. Remember that name. Next time you're asked this question, Kamala Harris, it's Kendrick Lamar. Don't say Tupac, because even AJ knows Tupac is long dead. And AJ's so out of touch, he's still listening to Vanilla Ice, but he is at least aware
Yeah, I was
that
going to
Tupac
mention that.
is
I was going to say
dead.
she should have mentioned Vanilla. She should have just said Vanilla Ice, and that's it. It's all done. Everybody knows Ice Ice Baby. And listen, first of all, since
That
you're on the
doesn't work
topic
for
about dead
her
musicians,
identity politics.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
Well, you know what?
I don't like it. And she went to Westmount High School, and I know some people that went to Westmount High
Yeah.
School, and like I know one guy that went to Westmount High School that sold me a Wu-Tang 36 Chambers CD for like $3. So, you know, like the guy knew hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why she went there and like didn't pick up. Unbelievable. Anyways, let's get back
Westmount,
to
man.
MMA.
No, wait. Since
No?
you're talking about musicians and passing away, I even put it on our tweet. Like the best guitarist ever, man. The band of the bands, man. Eddie Van Halen, man. Rest in peace, Eddie.
Yeah.
Play with Tupac.
See, that's more your
You're the best
generation.
Van
man.
Halen.
That's more your generation than
That's
mine,
another
AJ.
AJ.
Huh?
But that's
What?
another AJ moment. Best ever. Everybody's the best ever.
It's
true.
Eddie Van Halen, man.
It's true.
You
Is
know,
it? I don't
might
know.
as well jump, Kamala. You should have jumped out of that question, but no.
She did. She
Forget
gave
it.
up. Yeah, were you a big Van Halen fan, AJ?
Dude, I used to have long hair back in the days. Like, you know, I was close to that Westmount High School. You know, it was
When
like
did you start?
AC/DC,
When did
Eddie
you
Van
lose
Halen.
your hair? At what age did you like?
What?
What do you
Look
mean?
at the hair that I have. What are you talking about?
On your head, buddy.
I shave it, dude, because of jiu-jitsu and wrestling. What do you
Okay.
think? We don't
sorry.
keep long hair.
I didn't know. I was just
But
wondering.
I
Like,
used to
did you have it?
I used to have long.
Did you have it when
yeah,
you
I
were
did
like
have long
in your
hair.
30s or 40s or 50s? You know, because now that you're 75, I understand that it's shaved, but like,
When I was
know?
a younger AJ, yes, I used to have like actually I was a hair model, and you know I know you guys are gonna laugh and all that kind of stuff, but yes, AJ was a hair model back in the days. All the Italian barber shops, somewhere like
no,
in the West End here and
no.
down the Southwest, they used to have pictures of me. I swear to God, the old barber shops. I used to have spiked hair, man.
No, I picture
I'm
you.
telling,
I picture you with the
You
cut.
want it? You know, you want
I
it?
picture you with the cut that's like down the middle and like going down the sides. You know that one?
What
That's
is that?
AJ's.
Like what? Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a classic look. I
Dude,
could see you.
listen. If you think I'm bullshitting, I'm gonna send you the picture that they used to have up on the barber shops. I'm sending it to you right after the show.
Send it to me.
And you'll
I
see
want
me,
to see
man.
that.
I
I'll
look
put it
pretty
up.
good. I
I'll
look
put it
good,
up on
man.
my Twitter. That sounds fantastic.
No.
Did you
But,
guys watch the
yeah,
fights
yeah.
last weekend?
Oof, who did it, man?
Fred?
That was
I was off last week.
Yeah, that's it.
Took
Fred
a
was
week
off
off.
last week. He wasn't watching the fights. The fights were they were all right. I watched most of them. I
they
watched
were
the
good. Come on,
Carlos Condit fight. Condit looked good. That was nice to see. Charles
He looked
Jourdain,
great, man.
our buddy, and Josh Cooleybow went to a draw. I thought Charles won the fight.
was-
I thought he won
Yep.
the second and third rounds.
Yep.
But no,
listen,
apparently
the
not.
UFC, listen, the UFC brass themselves, and I said this to you, and as well as Jourdain who posted it. I mean, they themselves thought that Jourdain won. I thought he won the second and third. And you know what? It's so disappointing with Jourdain because he loses some fights, even with touchy-feely. You know, it was in his favor for that win. But you know what? Shit happens in life. It's a disappointment. But Dana White, again, was pretty cool in awarding Jourdain the win money. So that's pretty cool because you know what? There's a lot of time and effort going into the fights, and you want to win so you can get that extra money. And you know what? Dana White was cool enough to give him that win money because he thought he won.
That's
cool.
cool.
And it was a great card. I mean, we did our picks, so we got to give a shout out to Bet99. And Dave again has won. He's beat out Fred and AJ on his picks.
I won again, eh? I won again this week. I didn't even
Not
do that
sure.
well.
I thought I was 3-1-1.
Yeah, Fred, your picks
No.
weren't actually you though, weren't they? Like Noah's picks?
No,
child.
it was actually it was. Listen, Noah is like the
But
best.
I changed for
when
home.
it comes to betting. Did you? I don't
Well,
know, man.
AJ,
Yeah,
all I know is the main event was the most important fight. Holly Holm took home a unanimous decision win over Irene Aldana, and it was a pretty dominant performance there from Holly Holm. Just too good, too technical, championship-level fighter. Aldana couldn't find her. Holly Holm was bouncing around the octagon. Tremendous stamina on Holly Holm. What an athlete she is. She's really world-class, unbelievable. I'm always just impressed with Holly Holm, the way she moves and the way she keeps moving. You know, just amazing cardio, really in tremendous shape. And she just dominated. So good, so technical. And AJ, I told you she would win. You thought the other one would win. You out Aldana, and you were wrong
should have known
again.
better.
2 straight weeks
I
in the
should
main
have known.
event where you
I
are
know.
wrong. You had Paulo Costa over Israel Adesanya. Wrong. I was right. I had Israel. You had Irene
Freddie.
Aldana.
Don't forget
Whatever.
Freddie.
No, I'm putting you by
Freddie.
yourself. You're by yourself there. And you also had Aldana. 2 straight main events. You are wrong, and I am right. So it feels good 2 weeks in a row, AJ, to tell you about how wrong you are when you're always talking about how AJ's always right. AJ's always right. Well, you were wrong again this weekend, AJ, and you'll probably be wrong again coming up on Saturday between Mohais and Sandhagen. I doubt you have
Ooh,
a
I can't
correct
wait.
pick for that one, which we'll get your pick in a little bit here. I just want to dwell a little bit on Holly Holm and how good she looked and how bad your picks were again last week, AJ.
Listen,
what were you, 1 and 4?
Lightning doesn't strike 3 times. It strikes twice. AJ is going to be right on Saturday, coming up for that main card
Doubtful.
for sure. I want to hear your picks, and then I'm going to say mine.
Okay. Jermaine Durandamy looking really good with a guillotine submission choke of Juliana Pena, choking her unconscious. It was nasty, and you did not expect
Crazy.
Jermaine Durandamy to pull off a submission, but a sweet guillotine. You know, you believe in that technique, and it will work, and she pulled it off. Really nice win there for Jermaine Durandamy.
It's her first.
I like
it's her
that fight.
first
I thought
submission.
that was that fight of the night? Was that given fight of the night? Because that was really good.
I think she was asking for it. I'm not sure if Dana gave it, but
don't know.
in the end, that was her first submission in her career. So you got to give it to her.
You
No
gotta
fight of
give
the
it.
night.
Oh
There
no,
was no fight of the night, but she did get a performance of the night bonus.
Yes. So did Kyler Phillips, Dusko Todorovic, and
Now that guy is good.
Luigi Vendramini. I'm a big fan of his brother Mario Vendramini.
Luigi and Mario.
Mario.
Doink, 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 doink.
Hey,
Listen,
it's a me.
What about? You didn't
Huh?
say much about what's his name, Dusko. I mean, this guy was impressive.
I don't know.
I
Which
like
one was
man.
Dusko?
He's something. Dusko that beat Townsend, who was actually released from the UFC right after that fight.
Oh, yeah. He
Unfortunately.
mounted him, and he had good mount, ground and pound, right?
Wow, yeah.
Well,
yeah,
get a
it was crazy.
Wikipedia
It was,
page, Dusko, and I might care
TKO
about you
win.
more. Whatever. Get a Wikipedia
Well,
page,
you know what?
Dusko.
Listen, he's a Serbian champion coming in, if I'm not mistaken. And you know what? That fight was impressive. And you know what? He's gonna be. I think he's gonna be a name to look at, like, you know, as his career goes forward.
10-0, 26 years old, Serbian Dusko. He is 1-0 now in the UFC. He's a Dana White Contender Series guy. He won a decision on the Contender Series. Most of his fights he's won by TKO.
And you know what? He's ranked number
26
one in
years old.
Serbia.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Listen, you know what? I've seen, man.
You know
Serbian
what? He's
fighters
ranked
are
number one in
tough.
Serbia. How many
Listen,
Serbian MMA fighters are there in the UFC,
200.
AJ?
Well, in his weight class in Serbia, he was ranked first out of like 250.
In Serbia. I'm talking about in the UFC.
Yeah.
So you
Listen,
you
let's
know what,
see.
AJ? I am the number one ranked MMA fighter on my block, and there's about 500 people on my block. Okay? I'm the number one ranked.
What's his?
But you know what?
Don't
No
you
one
have-
on
what's
my
his name
block
from
fights
Show
in the
on your block?
UFC. What?
Don't you have what's
I
his
mean,
name from
you
Show
live
that's
close
on your
to
block?
H2O, man. You might have
Yeah.
somebody from there, Dave. Careful.
Yeah, but they
Yeah,
don't fight in
that's
the
true. Good
they don't
point,
fight in the
Freddie.
UFC, and I know that Olivier doesn't live near me.
Well,
Okay,
Olivier.
he doesn't live near me.
Mm,
But yeah, Rockman lives on my
I thought
block.
Mike-
But I'm
I
pretty
thought-
sure. I'm pretty sure. You know.
I
I
thought
saw his-
Desi lives not too far away from you. But anyways,
No,
that's
no.
okay, Dave.
I listen. Okay, maybe I'm not the number one, but I'm the number 2 ranked MMA fighter on my block. But nobody on my
It's like
block
our
fights
show.
in the UFC
No, but-
except for John
Listen,
McDessie
that
and George
reminds
St. Pierre.
That reminds me of
George-
the,
George
like,
lives
local,
down the block.
You know, local MMA ranking. Who cares who's number 5 in
Right.
Canada or whatever? You know, like MMA is a worldwide sport, man. I don't care who's number 1 in Serbia. If you're not important internationally, I don't care.
I mean,
Sorry.
I'm sure he's a good
Send
fighter,
me
but
location.
it's good. But like number 1 in Serbia is like, all right. Tell me if somebody's like, I'm the number 1 ranked MMA fighter in the United States of America. I'd be like, oh, okay, that's pretty legit. There's a lot of good MMA fighters in the United States. You must be pretty good then, you know?
Listen, there's a lot of good fighters coming from everywhere, Poland, whatever. But when we say fighters coming out of a certain area, I'll say Dagestan. As soon as I say Dagestan, we know that guy
Sure.
there is going to
If
be
you're the
most
number
probably a
1
dangerous
ranked
fighter.
If you're the number 1 ranked fighter out of Dagestan in your weight class, sure, I'll take you seriously because we know there's a whole bunch of good Dagestan fighters in the UFC right now. Name me another Serbian fighter other than Dusko.
No clue.
Thank you. Thank you.
This reminds me of like I'm not gonna name names.
There
and
might
it's
be
not
some, but
obvious.
is Mirsad Bektic Serbian? He's good. Mirsad.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Sorry, Fred, go ahead.
A long time ago, a local MMA promoter came and introduced himself to me by saying he was like the most important person in MMA in Canada, and I like started. I didn't laugh in his face, but I was basically like, "Oh yeah, you, not George St. Pierre, not somebody else that fought in the UFC. You are the most important MMA person
Is he still?
in Canada."
Is he still involved?
No,
Freddie, is he still involved?
No, it's not. No, it's not the name you think. It's another one.
Okay.
So many of them.
Mirsad
You know
Bektic
what?
is
Listen.
not Serbian. He's Bosnian American, okay? Not Serbian. So you tell me, well, number 1 ranked Serbian. It's like, okay, cool. I'm not trying to diss the guy Dusko. I'm just saying, like, you're bringing up these
but
facts that have
Dusko-
no,
But look,
like,
listen.
relevance.
Look, He's 10-0. He came like as ranked number 1 in the
Okay.
Serbian fight
Okay.
league, and he came to the UFC and he won 50,000 for performance of the night. You gotta
Good.
give him credit.
Got to give it to him.
Give it
Let's
to
give
him.
the guy
But
some
you
credit.
also got to give it to Luigi and his brother Mario because they
Mario.
also got
You know,
performance of
there's-
the night bonuses.
You know, there's 4 bonuses every event. So if there's an event every week, there's over 200 people every year that get a bonus, man. I'm not giving it to everybody, man. There's not 200 people that's getting it from me. I'm sorry.
There should be, you know what Dana
not
White,
giving
you know what Dana White's got to do? Freddie, listen to this. Dana White's got to give a huge bonus at the end of the year as performance of the year, $1 million, and you know what? That's going to step up the game. You got to give it to them. Come on, Dana, you got
Not
the
a bad
money.
idea.
$1 million performance of the year bonus. How do you even determine that?
Yeah,
Well,
there'd
that
be some
comes from the
favoritism.
viewers. No. You put it out
Vote.
to the MMA world, the fans and journalists and everything, and who gets the most like
Conor would win
percentage
always,
of?
man. It'd be dumb like
Not
that.
really.
Yeah.
No. Listen,
Maybe-
it doesn't mean.
Okay,
Listen,
You
it
don't
has a
know. You don't
performance
know,
of the
AJ.
night.
You're making things up
Hey,
as
Listen,
you
if
go
Conor,
along.
listen, if Conor gets it, he deserves it. And you know what? He's giving $500K to Poirier's charity. You know what? Who knows? He could do whatever he wants with his million.
He's
but
not
to
doing.
someone else,
He's
he
not
could be a-
doing anything. He's just saying things on Twitter. Nothing means
no,
anything
he
on
said-
Twitter.
No. Yes, it does. Conor stands by his word on that.
No,
I'll
he
guarantee you
doesn't.
gonna
He's
pay it out.
retired 3 times on Twitter. He doesn't
Listen,
stand by
man.
his word. Fuck out of here.
Everybody retires and they come back. George is going to come back. He's technically retired. This week he was talking and he sounds like he's coming back.
AJ, aren't you
telling
technically
you, it's-
retired? You're over 65, right?
The way I
Boom.
feel with this coronavirus, I should be retired, man.
You have
What's up with this
coronavirus? Who'd
shit?
you get it
We're in
from? The
red-
White House?
No. Actually, it's funny that you're talking about. I sent you a tweet today of Munir Laziz, who's supposed to be fighting in
Who?
November
You got
15th. Munir,
you got
the laser.
Meniere's disease? Isn't that what Dana White had?
And he got performance of the night. This guy was amazing, but unfortunately he has corona and he can't fight. I'm surprised Dana hasn't got corona, to be honest. I mean, this guy.
Yeah, he doesn't wear a mask ever.
know why?
He's just like wild.
Listen, he was next to Trump and that whole thing.
Okay, how about
You know
this?
what?
How about this? Mike
What?
Perry seems to be auctioning his cornerman spots. Do you see this?
Oh, I
People are
yes,
like
I actually
bidding.
put in our name for that.
Okay, well,
I
yeah,
did,
I
is
think I don't know. I think it's starting at $5,000, which seems like a lot to like be in Mike Perry's
No.
corner. But
Listen, I did
Darren
it for real.
Till, who's a fighter, he's like, yeah, I want to be the guy. I'll put in $5K and I'll throw in the towel immediately. And then Kendra Lust, who's like I think a porn star or former porn star, I'm not really sure, but I saw she was also putting in money to potentially be in Mike Perry's corner, and something called Cam Soda, which I think is like a cam thing. AJ, you would know better than me. You're always on the cams, right? You're one of the performers on
AJ
the many.
has an OnlyFans.
Yeah. Oh,
The
we all have
cam or the
OnlyFans.
cam?
AJ's a
Listen.
cam performer on the many cam sites. So this Cam Soda, they're trying to get one of their cam performers to be in Mike Perry's corner, and they're like trying to sponsor it. So a bunch of people are entering the sweepstakes to give Mike Perry money to be in his corner, which kind of seems like a joke. But with Mike Perry, you know, he had his girlfriend in his corner last time, but I think she's pregnant now, so maybe she can't be there. So it'll be somebody
with the porn
weird.
star, it's not happening. His girlfriend told him there's no way the porn star is going to be cornering you. So that's done. And you know what? To be honest, I talked to the guys from Bet99, and I swear to God, I asked them, like I told them, man, you know, enter it and then send Ringside Report to be his corner. Wouldn't that be awesome? In the
I don't
corner of
wanna
Mike
go.
Perry.
I don't want to go.
$5,000 is not that much for a betting site. That's nothing, man.
Yeah, but I don't want to go. I don't want to be in Mike Perry's
not?
corner. I don't know.
Where
I
is
That'd
don't.
be the
Abu
funniest
Dhabi?
thing ever.
Is it in Abu
Yeah,
Dhabi?
man.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, it
Too
would be
far.
so much fun, man.
I'll do it in
Fly
Vegas.
me over. Private.
Oh, dude,
jet.
I would go there.
I'll
I
go
would
in
go
a
there
private
dressed
jet.
up as like Connor, and it would be the funniest thing ever. I
Yeah,
would
Fred's
stand
right.
in Mike Perry's corner dressed as Connor.
Fred's right. If it's in a private jet, I'd go. I'd go anywhere in a private jet because, like, if somebody offers you a private jet, let's be honest, guys. How many chances are we gonna get to fly in a private jet, right? So, like, if somebody's like, "Hey, you want to go on a private jet to like Wuhan, China?" I'd be like, "All right." Fuck it. Let's go. I mean, how many times am I going to get to go in a private jet? You know, I mean,
I saw they're having parties over there. So
really? Well, maybe that's where you need to be. It was the epicenter of coronavirus, but maybe it's not anymore. Maybe I do want to take a private jet to Wuhan.
You don't want to take private jets because every time I think of a private jet, I think about Epstein. And every time I think about Epstein, I think about Clinton. And you know what? Private jets, I want to be on a public place where people see me.
That's weird.
Screw it, man. I don't want to be in no controversy.
Like, I don't think about Epstein when I think about anything, really. It's weird that you associate private jets with renowned pedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Listen, no,
because I just think private jets. Honestly, private jets. I think like Jay-Z, Kanye West, Drake, rappers in private jets. That's what I think of.
Ric Flair.
None. Ric Flair.
Four Horsemen.
Listen, I want to be.
Tully
I want to
Blanchard.
be in like the eyes of everybody. No. Don't put yourself in that.
But
in
AJ's
that corner,
right.
guys.
How is AJ right?
Thank you, Freddie. Thank you, Freddie.
I mean, private jet right now in 2020, the most like recognized private jet is unfortunately the one from Jeffrey Epstein. So just go read about it and all the people that went in it.
I think that's because you guys are on a very different Twitter than I'm on. See, my Twitter is a lot more rapper-based. I follow a lot more hip-hop sites. And, Fred, I've seen the things that you like on Twitter, and it's very conspiratory, a lot of conspiracies and things going on, a lot of Epstein talk.
No. Freddie sent me some stuff, and all of a sudden I became a believer, man.
I know. You and Fred are on that train, and it's really great. I love it. It's entertaining for me. But, like, we're on different internets is what I'm saying. So you guys think private jet, you think, evil networks, and I just think, like, oh, cool, rapper parties, because I'm, like, on a different side of the internet. I'm having more fun.
Listen, that's the problem. We're old school, so you know what? Old school stuff, we know not to put yourself into a dark corner because things might happen and they might not be great. So you know what? Right now, when I think of private jet, I'm thinking Epstein, Island, Clinton, and a lot of problems.
And a lot of other famous people
Prince Andrew. I mean, whatever, man. I don't know.
All right. Well,
I shook hands with Prince Andrew once. Am I I feel guilty all of a sudden, too, now.
You told me you did more than that, but, hey, that's another story, I guess. I don't want to get into that, AJ. You were a young boy, and anyways.
I was, man.
Fight Island coming up.
And he was in Montreal a lot.
Still.
Listen,
what's that, Fred?
was in Montreal a lot.
What? AJ's older than Prince
Andrew?
He might be. Oh, man. Okay. So, AJ, you were telling us before about how much you love Bellator and you think Bellator is the best, right? You love Bellator, right? Who's the main event for Bellator this weekend?
I thought it was. I don't know who it is. I know Chi Congo is fighting. What's his name? Thompson. But that's the thing that's
Timothy Johnson. Pretty good, AJ. I'm actually surprised you got that. Czech Congo is the main event in Paris against Timothy Johnson.
And I was gonna get to that. And just to go show you. Yes, this is going to be the first MMA fight happening in France, and it's been legalized since January. And I thought the UFC was going to jump on that, but with Corona, obviously it didn't. But Bellator has done it. Bellator has stepped up, and they're doing that first fight in France. And I think it's going to be amazing for, like, the French amateur MMA scene. And you know what? There's so many great fighters coming out of France, coming to, like, say, Montreal. So many fighters coming from France to train here in Montreal. Now it's the real deal, and I can't wait for the UFC to get into France because it's going to be awesome.
See my new France jersey?
And you know what? I'm surprised Chicago is still fighting.
Brand new France jersey. You see that? It's got 2 stars.
Vive la France.
2 stars. See,
it's a really nice shirt.
2 for 2 World Cup victories. You know what I'm saying? So Bellator is in France this weekend. The UFC back in Abu Dhabi. It's Marlon Mohais versus Corey Sandhig. And it's 32-year-old Marlon Moraes coming off that split decision win over Jose Aldo in December. Moraes coming in with a 23-6-1 record. He is Brazilian. He is a solid fighter anywhere this fight goes. Corey Sandhagen, really good as well, coming off a submission loss to Aljamain Sterling in June of this year. Before that, though, he'd won 6 in a row. This is a really good fight in the main event. I like this fight. This is, 2 very high-level UFC fighters in a big-time fight at 135 pounds. This is a big bantamweight fight. The winner of this fight finds himself in the mix for a title shot. I don't know if they're next, but they're definitely in that conversation. The current champion, of course, is what's his name? Peter Yan, right? He just won that title. And I think Aljamain Sterling is probably next up, but Marlon Moraes is right there. So is Corey Sandhagen. I think the winner of this fight is, probably not next in line. I think Sterling is next, but they'll be right there, right? So it's close. It's close to a title fight. The winner of this might be taking on the winner of, goddamn, I keep forgetting the guy's name. Who's the champion again? Peter Yan. Yeah, and Aljamain Sterling. I think the winner of this probably takes on the winner of Sterling and Yan. Odds makers have Moraes as the underdog, plus 120, Sandhagen minus 140, the favorite.
Which is surprising because Moraes started off as like a favorite, and now he's like the underdog. It's crazy. Sandhagen just went up like in rankings in like Vegas odds. And to be honest, I think he has the better chance. In my opinion, I think Sandhagen is going to pull it off. He's younger. He's got a 3-inch reach advantage. I mean, this guy has everything, man. Spinning, elbows, flying knees. The guy is amazing, which I was surprised when he lost by submission. I really thought he was going to win that fight. And you know what? You got to give it to Moraes. He's amazing, strong fighter. But if this carries off to the third, I think Sandhagen's going to win this. He's going to win by decision. If he doesn't knock him out.
I think you are going to continue your streak of being wrong about the main events. I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going with my man Marlon Moraes. I think he pulls this one off. I think he's faced a higher caliber of fighter just coming off that win over Jose Aldo. Sandhagen looked good in his run up to Aljamain Sterling, but you look at who he fought, he had some tough decision wins over some higher level fighters, but then when he got to the top, he struggled, and I think this is going to be another struggle of a fight. Corey Sandhagen, 28 years old. He's still got room to grow, but he just got tapped out, 3 months ago? So I think he's going to lose again here to Marlon Moraes. Don't be surprised if this fight goes to the ground and Moraes gets a submission. I think either a submission or a decision win here for Moraes. I'm not fully committed on where this one's going to go. He could knock him out as well. Moraes is dangerous anywhere, but yeah, maybe a knockout. Moraes did knock out Aljamain Sterling with a knee, so he's super dangerous. I got Marlon Moraes for the win, maybe by knockout. I think knockout or submission. He's going to finish Corey Sandhagen. I don't think this one goes all 5 rounds. I got Moraes by finish. Freddie, AJ's got Sandhagen. I've got Marlon. Where you going?
I'm going to go also with Moraes. But I like Sandhagen. I think he's a good fighter. So I think this fight is pretty even. And I think it's a logical fight for both guys. Like Sandhagen, he just lost to Sterling. He needs to fight another guy that's high in the ranking. And Moraes, you got a young guy that you're supposed to beat. So it makes sense. I'm going to go with Moraes. He has more experience. But Sandhagen's a very good fighter also.
How about the co-main event, Makwan Amir Khani taking on Edson Barbosa. Barbosa, 34 years old, has lost 3 in a row now. He's struggled. Makwan Amir Khani is a tough fighter. I think he's stepping up in competition here against Edson. Edson is a higher level than Makwan is used to. Makwan's done all right in the UFC. But I feel like this should be a bounce-back fight here for Edson Barbosa. He is a heavy favorite, minus 265. Makwan Amir Khani, plus 225, the favorite. Barbosa's coming off 3 straight losses, but to some really high-level fighters. So I think Barbosa comes back here, coming off to split decision losses, back-to-back to Dan Ige and Paul Felder. And before that, he was knocked out by Justin Gaethje. But I think he's still very good. He's lost 5 of his last 6, but Kevin Lee and Habib were also on his list of losses. So he's fought some really high-level guys. I think Edson bounces back here and picks up a victory. Odds makers certainly think so, right? Big-time favorite. Freddie?
Yeah, I think he wins. I think this fight stays standing up mostly, and Barbosa is the better striker of the two. So I don't think Makwan will manage to bring him to the ground, and Barbosa will be lethal, and I'd expect him to probably finish it. So I'm going to go with Barbosa by KO or TKO.
AJ, you going with us?
No, I'm going with the underdog on this. I think
What?
Barbosa's days are done. Yep, I think he's done. I mean, you got to give it to Amir Khani. He won in a submission in his last fight, and I think he's going to do the same thing to Barbosa. I think this is going to the ground. He's a younger fighter. Barbosa's days are done, man, and this is going to be it. So I'm going with the underdog.
All right, AJ going the other way again. And another fight on this card I'm interested in is Marcin Tibura taking on Ben Rothwell. I always like to see Big Ben in there. He is the favorite, -150. Marcin +130, the dog. I'm with that. I got Ben Rothwell by decision. I think Rothwell wins this fight. Bigger, stronger. I got him.
Yep, I agree with you on that one, Dave.
Uh-oh. Fred?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
going to go with Rothwell. At the same time, I mean, he's at the end of his career. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I'll pick Rothwell by decision.
Unanimous. We're all going with Big Ben Rothwell for the win. A slight favorite over Marcin Tibura. Some other fights on this card. We've got Marcus Perez against Dricius Duplessis. I have no idea who those guys are. Tom Breeze taking on KB Buller. I think KB Buller is a Canadian fighter.
Yeah, he's from Calgary, Alberta.
And he might be
This
making
is his
his
first
debut. Yeah, UFC debut. So
Yeah, it's his first fight.
good luck to KB, a Canadian. I love the toy store. KB Toys. You guys ever go to KB Toys? Tremendous. I don't know if they still exist. All right, maybe just me. Yeah, and that's
Toys R Us, maybe.
oh yeah, I go there too. You got to go. You got to do your shopping. When you're shopping, you got to shop correctly. You got to get the best products, and that's why we go to manscaped.com. Manscaped.com. Use that promo code ringside20. Look at Connor, all fresh and clean shaved chest. He manscapes. Go to manscaped.com. When you use the promo code ringside20, you get 20% off your order plus free shipping. They've got tremendous products. They've got the Lawnmower 3.0 to shave all those hard-to-reach places, those nooks and crannies. You will not get nicked. You will be fine. Great technology. This is the greatest razor known to man. They've got a light on the end of it so you can see where you're going. Manscape yourself. Clean yourself. Protect your balls. Protect everything you got going over at manscaped.com. And you use the promo code ringside20 for 20% off your order plus free shipping. And you help out the Ringside Report Network. And sorry, guys, but I've actually been watching the Yankee game this whole time. The whole time.
That's
the whole
not
show.
cool, Dave.
The whole show. I've had the Yankee game on in front of me because it is Game 4. We're down 2-1 to Tampa, and it's Glaber Day, baby! Glaber Torres just hit a 2-run home run. Yanks up 4-1. Yeah, Glaber Day.
Oh, no, you're right. You're down 2-1.
We're down 2-1 in the series, but we're up 4-1 in this game. We're going to tie it. We're going to push it to Game 5 tomorrow, and we're going to win, and we're going to move on to the ALCS. We're going to beat the cheating Houston Astros. We're going to move on to the World Series. We're going to win the World Series because the Yankees are the best. It's Glaber Day, baby. Glaber Torres. Woo!
Freddie doesn't agree. Where's your Houston hat, Freddie? Why don't you wear it, man?
It's upstairs, but honestly, I haven't watched
Fuck
this
the
second
Astros.
playoffs.
Fuck the
Come on,
Astros.
you gotta give him credit. You gotta give him credit for
Fuck
the win,
the
man.
Astros.
No. The only
Terrible.
thing I watch is MMA these days and conspiracy
Yeah.
videos.
That's right, conspiracy videos. All right, guys, I have a final question for you before we wrap up, okay? Final question. Question of the night, okay?
Uh-oh.
It is currently
Let's hear this.
October 8th, 2020. Will
COVID
there
time.
be a Halloween this year?
Hopefully.
I hope so, man. I wanted to dress up as Dana White, and my little guy was gonna go as Connor, and Noah was gonna go as like Habib. I swear, man, it was gonna be awesome. But I don't think it's gonna happen, dude. I don't think Halloween is gonna take place this year.
I might go as Winnie the Pooh.
I've been Winnie.
What?
I got a
Oh,
Winnie
yeah?
the Pooh here. If you need I got one. I could
Okay.
lend it to you.
Yeah, hook me up. That'd be great.
I got
Can you let me the UFC gloves?
Tigger and
Yeah.
Piglet for my daughter. We were. One
Oh. Well, I think my son might
No,
want
it's
to
not
be
gonna
Piglet.
happen, guys. Listen, it's not
Now
gonna
this
happen.
year I wanted
Listen,
to go
we're in
as Woody
quarantine.
because my daughter's all into Toy Story, so I
Oh.
wanted to go as Woody maybe.
I wanted to go as Sub-Zero because I figure we already have the mask, you know? I was gonna go like this, Sub-Zero, from Mortal Kombat, because they already have a blue mask. You always have to wear masks everywhere, so Sub-Zero, baby. But I was gonna make my son do Scorpion. I was gonna give him a harpoon. I was gonna teach him to come over here, all that stuff. But I don't know. I don't know if there's gonna be a Halloween this year. Johnny North says no Halloween, no Thanksgiving, no soup, no soup. What does that even mean?
What?
Johnny North says no soup. No Halloween, no Thanksgiving, no soup. Habs fan for life says rest in peace, Halloween. Habs fan for life. My God.
More candy for me.
Must be a rough life.
More candy for me.
Yeah.
Listen.
Habs need to win a goddamn Stanley Cup. Get it together, Habs.
Listen. Wasn't it a couple of years ago that Halloween was canceled?
Yeah, last year Halloween was canceled. Halloween was canceled because of weather last year.
Was it last year or was it a couple years ago as well?
Go ahead, Fred.
For like several millions a year, and I had never heard of him.
Yeah.
Who was it?
You could tell me his name. I don't know. I don't know any hockey players.
Something like that.
Johnson.
I got my hockey stick in back there. Can you
Randy Johnson.
Who, the baseball player?
I think the Habs signed him. That's what Fred said. Fred said the Habs signed Randy Johnson, a baseball player, to play goalie for them.
What is he, like 60 years old?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Habs fan for life says the Canadians are going to win next year. Watch. I think a lot of Habs fans say that like every year. They'll win next year.
No.
I mean, they have a chance.
Listen, man, the Canadians have been rebuilding. They have a good team, man. You know what? If the Habs are in a good position. They have good prospects. They just need to get like a big scorer, man. That's it, man.
Okay.
Talk about the Habs.
The last time
is going through a rough time
I'm watching
right now.
old school wrestling. And the last time the Habs won a Stanley Cup in '93, the Quebecers were the tag team champions. So that's a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And you want to hear the craziest part? I was at that parade, man. I was at the riots of that night. I was there with Muscles Marco.
Yeah, and were you guys drinking and partying, right? Having a good time,
me
right?
And Muscles?
Yeah. Because you were out on the town, right? Because you were what, in your mid-20s at that point? How old were you roughly at that point, AJ? No, seriously, I want to know.
Me and Muscles were eating. I still remember like yesterday. We went to Kojak's. We were eating. We were partying.
Mid-20s.
It was wild, man.
Mid-20s he was.
Yeah.
We were young guys.
AJ,
man.
I'll tell you my story
Muscles
about
was
that.
So slim.
My story about that, I went to elementary school downtown, okay? I went to Face. I went to Face for elementary school, right? And I remember...
So you weren't even born for the 85 one.
Well, I was born in 85, so probably not. So I remember going to elementary school,
it was
AJ.
86.
Yeah, well, whatever. I don't remember
85.
it. I remember going to
Stanley Cup.
school the next day. I was probably in grade 2 or 3 and seeing like everything smashed up and thinking, why did they smash everything up? They won. I didn't understand why they were so angry. So that should make you feel real old, AJ, because you were in your mid-20s partying the night before, and I was waking up the next morning going to grade 2.
Isn't that a special school, by the way? What is that? What kind of school is that?
It's for artistic people that like are super talented. Just for super talented.
How the hell did you get in there?
Musical, artistic people,
so
super geniuses. What do you mean?
Yeah, what happened
Nothing.
to you, man?
I'm doing this show with you guys. This is the height of where it's supposed to take you, brother. This is this is great.
You know what? Listen, why don't they call you in as like a guest speaker for the school, man? Dave Simon Productions, man. Actually, I'm going to tell you one thing. Freddie, and I always say this because Dave Simon, and you know what? We have a lot of like broadcasters out there or so-called broadcasters for MMA that have probably never done like one punch in their life. But Dave Simon has put out some of the best questions addressed to you name it. GSP being one of them.
Got to give it to him.
I got to give it to Dave Simon. He's probably the best MMA journalist in Canada.
In the world.
In the United States.
Ever.
In the world.
Ever.
I was going to say like Joe Rogan and Dave Simon. You should get together, man.
By the way, guys, have you noticed that, like, I don't know about you, but I feel like Joe Rogan has disappeared from the face of the earth. Like,
what's happening?
I don't know. Like, I used to see so much Joe Rogan everywhere. I was like, Joe Rogan this, Joe Rogan that. Here's a Joe Rogan video, like on YouTube and on the feed, just Twitter. Everybody was like posting about Joe Rogan. You know what happened, AJ? You know what I figured out?
No.
He went to Spotify. and now he's only on Spotify. So now he's like not as out there as he was before. Like, I think Joe Rogan, I think you can still get him, but there's something with the Spotify deal. I feel like I predicted it too when he got the deal. He's like less in the public sphere now than he was because he's exclusive to one streaming platform, right? And we're on all the streaming platforms.
You're absolutely right.
Taken over from Joe Rogan. But if they give me $100 million, I will go exclusive to any platform. I'll shut down the whole show for $100 million. $100 million, and you're like, do more work? I'm like, I don't know, man. Can I just have the $100 million?
I'll go cover MMA in Mars, like on planet Mars.
Whoa.
I'll go anywhere.
Listen.
$100 million.
No,
listen,
you won't.
man.
Fred,
hey,
but you don't.
One over there.
Fred, you don't make it back from Mars. And then what are you going to do with your money?
Got $100 million.
Oh, you're the richest man on Mars. What are you going to buy? Nothing. That's a terrible plan, Fred. That's awful. Yeah, I'll go cover MMA on Mars, but they're going to pay me $100 million. Oh, what are you going to do with that money? I don't know. How do you know they're actually going to give it to you? Well, it's in my bank. Well, how are you ever going to access the bank? You're on Mars. Terrible plan, Fred.
Might have to think that up.
Yeah.
Might have to think that up while I smoke this.
That's it. Fred needs to go smoke. Fred needs to think that plan over because it's obviously half-baked. He needs to full-bake to get the great plan together. Fucking hell.
I was going to say is like, you know what? Joe Rogan, you're absolutely right, man. Joe Rogan is like super silent. And you know what? The bottom line is, it's better for us. We were the number 2 show.
Right.
Now we're going to
we're number one, baby. All right, take it over from Joe Rogan. We're number 1, man. We're always number 2. I will.
And we need Gary V on our side. Listen, because Darren Till dissed him. And I always tell you to listen to Gary V. I think Gary V is awesome. But Darren Till, I don't know if you saw that tweet. He did Gary V. He was telling him like all kinds of insults. And you know what?
Cool.
Gary V, I know you have a lot of social media power behind you. Support the Ringside Report, and we'll go after Darren Till.
I'm less concerned with having Gary V on our side. I want Gary S. Gary Sheffield.
Who the hell's
all right,
Gary S?
He's the only Gary I want on my side. Gary Sheffield.
I thought you were going to say Gary Carter or something like that.
No, rest in peace. I would have said Gary Shandling, but also
are
rest
you
in peace.
talking about the guy that was taking steroids that helped the Yankees win a couple of World Series, like many of the other guys?
Dave.
Like the last time you guys won some World Series, how many juicers you had? You're calling the cheaters, man. Look at your own team.
How dare you?
Yeah, and you know what? You were dissing Paulo Costa, but Paulo Costa is clean. You know, the old Yankees weren't.
How dare you? Look at that guy.
Pettit.
That's our
Roger,
man right
look
there.
at that, man. That's
Look
all
at that
juice
guy.
there, man.
Gary Sheffield, baby.
A-Rod, Giambi. How many Reuters did you have on your teams?
I don't know what you're talking about, okay? Let's not talk about these negative aspects of history of baseball. Not like everybody else in baseball wasn't also on steroids at the time, Fred.
Barry Bonds.
There you go.
You
Thank you, AJ.
I think was. Listen, I think Jose. No, but I'm just saying when you're looking at juice, those names come up, and I think the first one was Jose Canseco. I think he was like the first one that was like called
AJ's
out.
just like
Mark McGuire.
Yes. Thank you, AJ. Yes.
You know?
Yes. Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa. The list goes on and on. Rafael Palmeiro.
But they were the best, man. They were amazing, man. I loved them. I don't give a shit if they're on juice, man. They made baseball fun.
Yeah, make baseball fun again. It doesn't matter if you're on steroids, all right?
Exactly.
That's the message. Thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you especially to our buddy Patrick C. Hamilton for super chatting and TK as well for supporting. Please continue to support our sponsors. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net to sign up with IPVanish. Go to Manscaped and use the promo code RINGSIDE20 to get 20% off plus free shipping on your whole Manscaped order. And, of course, go sign up at Stitcher. Go to Stitcher.com/premium. They've got over 100,000 podcasts there for you to listen to, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and more. Listen to on all the devices you've got. $34.99 a year, just $4.99 a month. And when you sign up with Stitcher.com/premium and use the promo code RINGSIDE, you get a free month of Stitcher Premium. Stitcher.com/premium, promo code RINGSIDE. Support our sponsors. Keep supporting the Ringside Report Network. Johnny North and I will be back here on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. for Wrestling Uncensored. We have a lot of pro wrestling to talk about. I actually haven't watched Raw or AEW yet this week, so I have a lot of wrestling to catch up on, and I will catch up on that by the time Saturday rolls around, so I can tell you my thoughts on everything in pro wrestling. Okay? Make sense to you? Our next UFC watch-along will be on the 24th of October, and I believe it'll start at 2 in the afternoon. That's when the pay-per-view starts, right? 2 in the afternoon?
Yep, 2 o'clock. It's going to be great.
It's amazing.
We could barbecue.
Too bad we can't be. Oh, man. Yeah, I was going to say that it would have been great. Freddie, can I come over? Are you in the red zone?
Everybody's in the red zone.
If you're not in the red zone, I say we go.
No, you're not allowed. Fred's in the red zone. You're not allowed to come over anywhere. It's illegal. You're not allowed to see people.
I'm not sure if it's Montreal.
It's in the red
Unless
zone.
you want to do some jiu-jitsu. Unless you want to do some jiu-jitsu, man. Jiu-jitsu is always allowed.
Is it?
Easy, Connor. Take it easy, Connor. Listen.
So it's 5:30 a.m.
choose.
Abu
That's
Dhabi time now. So and the card is supposed to start at 10 p.m.
2
Abu
p.m.
Dhabi time.
Which is 2 p.m. Eastern time, us.
2 p.m. Eastern time
Right.
us. Cool. So 2
Yes.
p.m. Eastern time is when our watch-along will start on Saturday, October 24th for the Habib versus Justin Gaethje UFC 254 pay-per-view. We also have Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier, Alexander Volkov versus Walt Harris, Cynthia Calvillo, Lauren Murphy, and finally, my man, Magomed Ankalaev versus Jan Kutalaba. So that fight's actually going to happen, hopefully, barring any COVID scares. So,
Listen.
yeah, that's going to be good, man.
I'm gonna give you an early prediction. Just put your money on Khabib because Khabib is going to be champion.
I agree. I think Habib wins.
Does Connor agree? No.
I love that talking,
Easy,
Connor.
Connor. Go back to your cage.
All right, thank you everybody for watching. Follow Freddie at Freddie MMA on Twitter and Instagram. Follow me at Dave Simon MMA. Follow AJ at Dan E. Bruck. Go to ringsidereport.net. That's our online home. And check out my other show, Irreparable Damage. Go to irreparabledamageshow.com. For Fred and AJ, I'm Dave. This has been Ringside Report.